Wow. Shouldn't have drank that.
Have you ever had that experience where you didn't trust the water from the water buffalo, or you tasted it and it was really gross? Hi, I'm Lieutenant Richardson from the 230th BSB. I'm the Preventive Medicine Officer in the 30th ABCT.
Hi, I'm Specialist Smith, your enlisted Preventive Medicine Specialist for the 30th Brigade.
And today we're going to share ways that you can learn to clean, inspect, and properly care for water containers that are used in the field so that you don't have that experience. We want you to be able to have clean water and water that you can trust. Even though we train field sanitation teams across the brigade for every unit, we believe that it's really important for every soldier in the brigade to understand how to properly care for and treat and at least do an informal inspection of water containers so that all of us can help make sure that we have clean and drinkable water in the field. So there are a couple of ways to clean a water buffalo. One approach is to hook it up to a vehicle like this, and you need to tow it over to a water source, and you can fill up the water buffalo part way, mix in some chlorine, and then you drive around, it slushes around, coats all the inner surfaces with high chlorine solution, and then you empty it and you fill it back up again. Today we're not going to do that. I'm going to show you another approach which doesn't involve using the vehicle, but you do need some Joes to help you out and move your water buffalo safely over to a spigot where you can access a hose and rinse and fill up the water buffalo. Alright, so we brought the water buffalo over to where there's a spigot and a hose. This is just on the outside of our armory. And as I mentioned, I'm going to explain an approach to cleaning the water buffalo that doesn't involve using as much water as filling it halfway up and driving it around. Instead, you can get a sprayer like this from Walmart, really cheap, and make sure that it hasn't been used before for anything, any chemicals or anything like that, because this can be your water and bleach sprayer, and it can be used for cleaning out, for sanitizing, creating a high bleach concentration solution to sanitize out the inside of a water buffalo. And the benefit of this is that you can spray all the surfaces. You don't have to climb inside to be able to get the container clean. You just spray down the surfaces, and I'll be showing you that in a minute. But here we're just gonna start the water. You don't have a key, you can use some pliers or Gerber, and I'm just going to do that and add some water to this container, and then I'll show you how much bleach I add as well to make the high concentration solution of bleach. So if you don't have calcium hypochlorite, which is essentially powder bleach to mix in with your water solution, you can use household bleach, right, that you can buy from the store. You might have some in the cleaning closet at the armory. This is the same stuff that you put in pools. Just make sure that it doesn't have any added softeners. So I'm gonna take some of this and put it in my sprayer. Once again, this container has only had water and bleach in it. Put about a cup worth into here. Then I'm ready to use this solution to spray down the inside. But before I spray down the inside, it's important to wash out the inside. Make sure that it's clear of any debris. You can get a pressure washer, or you can just use the hose. You can spray it down. And before spraying it down, you'll want to take this out. This is the plug that's on the underside of the water buffalo. It should only be in there hand tight. If not, then you need to get a wrench, and when you put it back in, make sure that it's only put in hand tight. That's important to be able to remove and drain all the water thoroughly and the debris from inside. If the water buffalo is really dirty, you might need to do more than just spray it out, but do a little bit of scrubbing. And if you do need to scrub the inside, don't use anything that's abrasive. You can get a mop like this for really cheap, and you should never get inside these things. You can use this to sponge the sides, the surfaces of the inside of the container, and that will get off any dirt film that might be there, and then you can spray it some more. The other nice thing about the spray method is that you can thoroughly cover the top of the container, whereas if you're driving this around and it's only half full, even if you slosh it around, it might not get the top of the container. You can even spray the lid. Actually put the plug back in underneath, and what also I want to do here is fill it up a little ways so that there's enough water in there to get into the front spigots, because it's important to get the pipes leading to those spigots also sanitized and clean. So I'm gonna dump in this spray solution that's highly concentrated, fill it up with a little bit of water, doesn't need to be halfway, just enough to get into those front spigots, and then let the water run through those front spigots as well, so that during this 30-minute period it can sanitize the whole system. Close it up and let it sit for about 30 minutes. That's how long it takes for the high concentrated bleach solution to kill any bacteria that might be on the surfaces. All right, I have enough bleach water solution in there that it can go through the spigots, and so I'm going to hold these down for about 10 seconds, let them run, let the water run through here, and then after that I'm going to let this sit, the whole system sit after I've got that cleaning solution throughout. While you're waiting for the container to be sanitized with the bleach solution inside, you can do a quick inspection of the water buffalo. There is a formal process to this, and it's documented in a DA Form 5457, and I'll post a link below so that you can see a video of how that's done. But that is handled typically by a field sanitation team in preventive medicine. As a soldier, you should be able to still inspect certain capabilities with the water buffalo. Some of these include the water spigots, that they function properly and that they don't leak. That's why it's good to actually test these when there's a little bit of water inside. If you put this down, you can also see up here there's a T plug that you should be able to pull out, and that actually stops the flow of water to these front spigots or push back in, which opens it back up. That's important for draining the container. You'll also want to be able to check the plug on the underside, as I mentioned earlier, that's hand tight, that you can unscrew it, let everything drain out, and screw it back up. For the lid, it should be able to open up and stay open in the lock position. You also want to inspect for any dents or any major rust on the inside. If there is a lot of rust, then you should notify your field sanitation team and preventive medicine officer. These are just some basic things that every soldier should be able to check as they clean out and use this water container. So after it's sat for about 30 minutes with the bleach solution inside, you can drain it out. I had to turn this around actually so that I could fully drain the water inside from the plug underneath. And then it's important to actually rinse out that high bleach solution with some more spraying. So here's the cleaned out inside of the container. It's still draining a little bit. We'll let it fully drain and then put the plug back in. It'll be ready to take to the field. When you take this out to the field, then you can fill it up at a certified water source. Those water sources on base have been tested and are tested regularly. And even though they're tested and treated, you still should actually add some bleach to the water that you put in your water container. And the reason why we do that in the Army is to prevent any bacteria that's still lingering in there from growing as it sits in the sun. So it doesn't take much, right? For this container, you actually only put in about 1 capful, maybe 2. You shouldn't put in more than that. Technically, it's 2 tablespoons. That's enough to get this to a level of 1 to 2 parts per million. And that's all you need to make sure that this water stays clean as it sits out in the sun all day. That's pretty good.
Hi, I'm Specialist Smith, and today we're going to be talking about our 5-gallon military containers as well as our personal coolers that we may bring out to the field and our canteens. Alright, so first things first, you're going to go through and inspect our containers, make sure there's no debris left in there like dirt, dust, anything. You're going to want to go ahead and just rinse that out so that's out of the way before you overchlorinate. Next, you're going to throw a little bit of bleach in there. It doesn't necessarily matter how much that you're putting in. As long as it's overchlorinating, you know that you're putting in more than you normally would to clean everything out. And you're going to fill that up with water, shake it up very well, get it all through the threads over here because bacteria can be held in there as well. And then for containers like this, you're going to want to make sure that you run it through the spigot as well. Alright, after our chlorinated solution has sat for 30 minutes, you want to go ahead and dump all the water that's inside of there, and you're just going to rinse it out real well. Make sure that you get all the bleach out and make sure that this is open so it can air dry, and properly get all the water out before you use it. Alright, as far as personal containers going to go, your canteens, you can pretty much just make sure you clean this out. Like I used to use dish soap, use bleach, you can overchlorinate it. And if this isn't clean, no matter how much we treat the water and everything, this is still going to make you sick if you don't properly clean it. So you want to make sure that you have this clean out first before you fill it up with your drinking water.